was fortunate enough to see Zaha Hadid speak. There were about 350 people here in Miami, and I got a chance to see her speak about a year and a half ago, and it was really amazing to see such an icon. And Gregg has had a chance to work with her, and he's going to talk a little bit about that, but it's just incredible what he's been able to do in his work with Chad Oppenheimer, and we're really excited to have him and have this kind of dialogue. He's working on a major project now, which I think he'll divulge a little bit of, but he's in the middle of it. So without further ado, we're going to have Maria and Gregg kind of sit down and have a conversation here.
I'm very excited looking into your bio and doing a little bit of back work last night. I am just tremendously surprised by your history, and I'd like you to share just a little bit about your development history here in South Florida with the audience.
I've been a developer in South Florida 25 years. My grandfather built his first building in Miami Beach in 1948 on the GI Bill after World War II. Mostly I do hotel, condominium, mixed use, commercial as an accessory. I've been doing it myself for 25 years. I started in Coconut Grove. When I finished at University of Miami, I bought 2 crack houses in Center Grove and knocked them down and built Atrium in the Grove. It was a townhouse project where you could walk into Cocoa Walk. That was back when the Grove was the hottest part of Miami. After that, I started mostly working in South Beach, doing historic renovations, some new construction. We built the Hotel St. Augustine. I did the Montclair with Chad Oppenheim on Lincoln Road Mall. Done about a dozen buildings around South Beach at Midrise. In 2003, Chad Oppenheim, the architect, and I went onto the roof of the old pink Howard Johnson's in downtown Miami and saw that the view from that part of downtown was amazing. In I think Thanksgiving of 2003, we sold out 10 Museum Park, all 200 units in 9 days. This is back when people used to camp outside of the sales center, and you'd have to give out lottery tickets to the brokers to get a unit. In 2006, 2007, when I was finishing that building, we had to resell about half the building very quickly, and we got out in time before everything fell apart, and a lot of the larger buildings on that street ended up in trouble. In 2011, 2012, well, when I built 10 Museum Park, I had rented parking from the old BP gas station for many years, and the family that owned that gas station wanted to be the last one on the street, so I signed a contract in 2012, June 2012. We knew we had one of the most important high-profile waterfront sites left in downtown Miami, and I wanted to get the most controversial architect that we could, and there was only one person that came to mind, so I happened to know Zaha's lawyer. He gave me a contact there. I sent some photos of the surrounding site, and I guess Zaha Hadid had competed for one of the museums across the street. The Herzog did the art museum, and Grimshaw, another architect from London, did the science museum, and Chad had done 10 Museum Park, and Architectonica, and Louis Reveldt. So it was all male architects. So she jumped at the chance to do a high-rise right there in front of all her competitors and peers. And
that's 1000 Museum.
That's 1000 Museum, and that's what I'm working on today. We poured the 11th floor on Friday, and I'm forming 12 right now, looking to finish in summer 2018.
And what prompted you to start that project?
I felt that there was room for a condo project. I felt that I could sell again. There was no financing, but this model of taking large deposits from buyers that was typical in South America, and I knew that's what was going to happen. And George Perez right away started a project doing it and was having some success. So we wanted to plan a project that was it's a different market now. We're not building for flippers or renters. We're building like real assets that people would want to put that type of a deposit up. And we felt there was a need for larger units also in the downtown market, that you could garner a higher price per square foot by doing a larger unit, which is usually not the way it is, but now it is. So.
Right, and what square footage are you looking when you say larger?
The 1000 Museum is either a half a floor or a whole floor. So my smallest unit is 4,500 square feet. They're like houses stacked on top of each other. They're 4-bedroom and a staff quarters. So it's a unique project.
So for those of you who do not know Zaha Hadid, she was one of the preeminent female architects in the world, legendary now. She passed away 2 months ago here in Miami suddenly from complications from bronchitis. So Gregg, what was it working with her, and what did you learn from her?
It was very challenging working for her. She has close to 400 employees in her office in London. So she real quickly assembled a team that was going back and forth. And you could see, first of all, she had to get used to the hurricane codes and concrete construction in Miami. So right away I put her with DeSimone Engineering, and so they could set about designing this structure, which is going to be one of the most complex structures ever built here. And you could see when we would tell something to her team, oh, we want it this way or want it this way, you could kind of see the fear in their eyes that they would have to go back to Zaha and say something to her, and maybe she would throw her cappuccino on them or something. So that was complex, and she was also used to doing mostly public projects where she's working for dictators and kings, and this is a private project that we had a budget, and there's also, she's from London, she wasn't used to like big balconies and these big bedrooms and things that the market demands here in Miami. But we worked together, and her curves that she designs, the system of curves that she uses, we couldn't really do it out of poured concrete and stucco and paint, so we ended up having to, buying formwork from a company in Dubai called Arabian Profiles. I'm shipping 4,800 pieces of formwork every month in 300 containers from Port of Jebel to Port of Miami. And we're about to start using those. It's actually leave-in plate GFRC, fiberglass reinforced formwork. The formwork is the finished product. We put the steel, put the formwork, pour the concrete, and you leave it. So it's not a stucco and paint building. It's only glazing, glass, and this formwork from Dubai. So that's been a challenge, getting all this stuff from.
And you have a very cool intro to the building online, I believe. I saw a beautiful.
Yeah, all of the images and everything have been great. I mean, all of our buyers come because they're fans of hers. I mean, her brand is worldwide. Unfortunately, with her passing, I mean, I was talking to her on Monday, and she passed away on Thursday. She could have done a lot more, for sure. So we were saying that this is her first building in America. It's her first and last now. I mean, skyscraper, because she has a smaller building in New York that she.
Right, no, it's a terrible loss. So what other projects are you planning in the future? Do you have anything you can share with us?
I'm the finalist in this RFP with Miami-Dade College to build their cultural center, which is their theater and conference center and museum. It's me and Gary Nader's group and Related. So that's been going on for 10 years. Oh. They've been stopping and starting this RFP. Supposed to go meet with them later. They're having a meeting to tell us that there's going to be another meeting. It seems to be going very slow.
A lot of patience when you're a developer.
It's the only government project I've ever really got involved in.
So do you see more world-class projects in South Florida? And are you seeing more of them? And if so, why do you think this is?
I think that as someone that was born here and grew up here, and I know a lot of you guys have been in business here a long time. I think we as locals don't even realize how global Miami has become. It's not the Miami that it used to be. People from all over the world want to be here because it's not just our weather. It's because our infrastructure, our safety. You can do anything here now. I think that there's a lot of world-class projects slated and coming out of the ground right now. I think that it's going to slow down. I think the market's maturing. Next year, it'll be more like New York. You go around, you're going to be looking at buildings that are in construction. You're not going to be going to sales centers. I think the pre-construction market is going to kind of die off for a few years, and there'll be a lot of stuff to go look at and buy, but you won't be in a trailer looking at a brochure.
And in that light, what important steps do you think our region has to take in order to keep that current positive trajectory for us?
We have to keep Miami the welcoming, safe, great place it is that all these international and foreign people want to come here. I had a buyer from Brazil, and he said, Greg, you know, I came here and I took a bike ride with my wife and kids, and I didn't feel like I was going to get killed, and I could never do that at home, and we take that for granted. These foreign buyers and everyone's talking about, it's not like they're, you know, I have the whole building's international buyers from all over the world. I have buyers from everywhere, but it's not like they're just foreigners that send their money and never come here. These people are here with their families. Everybody that bought from me, they already own something in Miami. They're already coming here all the time. They're already sitting next to you at the restaurant. They're sitting next to you on the beach. They love it here, just like us. Whether they're from the Middle East or domestic buyers or Brazil or Venezuela. So I think we have to keep it welcoming. You know, there's a little hysteria now about stuff, but this is paradise and always will be.
Right, right. And as far as foreign investors, do you see any shifts as compared to when you started in developing? Are there different players? What do you see as different today as far as foreign investors per se or foreign investment in general in Miami versus when you started?
It's always been different South American countries. At the beginning, when I started selling 1000 Museum, we were selling to a lot of Brazilians, a lot of Venezuelans. Naturally, you know, when oil went down and the dollar went up, that slowed down. But now we've been selling to Mexican. I've been sending my sales girl to Mexico City all the time. We have Middle Eastern buyers for the first time ever. Lots of Middle Eastern buyers. And when I say Middle Eastern buyers, yeah, they're Middle Eastern, but they have a place in New York already, and they own a building next door, a unit next door. So what it is there's this global person now that, yeah, they're of a certain ethnicity or from someplace, but they're here because they love Miami. That's who I'm saying.
So what do you see in Miami in the long term? You know, taking the brand, the Miami brand, what do you see in the future?
I think downtown Miami is 10 years into a 20-year transformation. There's a lot of work to still do for some of this infill stuff. I think we always have this gold rush mentality where everyone rushes in and the market seems to take care of it. But I think Miami is just going to get better and better. Like I said, we need to keep it welcoming because there are other places in the world that aren't welcoming, and that's why they're coming here.
Correct. So where do you see future opportunities as a developer or for any investors that we may be working with? What particular assets or what do you see as an opportunity in the future?
It seems to me now, you know, I never would have thought this growing up, but because Wynwood has gotten so hot and Midtown and the Design District, it's almost blended into one big area. Now, anything east of 95, anywhere along there is viable. The prices that these commercial sites in Wynwood are getting, it's because they're sophisticated in New York, landlords that are more sophisticated than us, that they know that, oh, I'm going to buy that warehouse and I'm going to get whatever to go in as a tenant, and it's amazing what's happened there with the whole Wynwood area, and it's just growing by the day. So I'd say that's just getting started, and that's mainly in Miami now. So.
I was recently at the Impact Conference, and there were New York developers closing as keynote speakers, and their one message to the audience, which is made up of many different people in our industry, was, if you have a property in Miami, don't sell it. So that was their parting. They were coming here, buying property and saying, you know, this is a transformation, like you mentioned, that we're seeing in the next 20 years. So any closing advice or thoughts to our members here who are commercial practitioners in different fields, different size clients, any advice that you could give us?
Be a doctor, go to med school. No, I think that in the commercial business, it's about long-term vision for these areas, and these things you have to have a 10, 20, 30-year timeline on what's going to happen with all these big companies setting up in Miami from all over the world. I mean, look at it, we're like 100 years old, and New York's 200 years old. I mean, that just tells you it right there. We have a lot of growth still. I mean, eventually, I guess everything from 36th Street down is just going to be like a dense urban city. Seems like that's what's happening.
Well, I'd love to open it to the audience. I'm sure you have questions for our developer, and we want to give you time for a few more questions than last time. Anybody?
I live in Surfside, Ball Harbor area for 20 years. Well, we're never going to have a real public transportation system like a subway or anything like that. I mean, it's just Miami is a spread out metropolis with all these different little downtowns, all the different little cities. You know, this train, this all-aboard train is coming. I think that's like the sleeper project. Everyone's talking about Miami World Center. I don't think people realize how much retail's in this train station. This train station's got like an incredible mall. I think that's going to be a game changer over there. And I guess at some point you're going to be able to take that Metro mover, get on that train, go to the airport, go up to it goes all the way up Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Orlando, Jacksonville, and if they're going to build that Marriott Convention Center there. That's going to be the main convention center now, not the Miami Beach Convention Center. So you're going to have that thing connected to transportation. I think that whole north side of downtown, you've got 10 or 15 years of development coming there, no matter what happens.
Any other questions? Well, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
a real treat having you.
Thank you very much.